Do you like being a gangster?
Matt, Christy, Alonzo, here to talk about Legend.
Not the Tom Cruise movie.
No.
Tom Hardy.
So Tom Hardy and Tom Hardy, but Ronnie Reggie Kray, but both parents at the same time. And it's impossible to hear this talking about, but it's okay, isn't it? Because they're these really terrible gangsters from the Britain in the 1960s, and they're horrible and they do terrible things. What am I talking about? I don't know. Take a look.
London in the 1960s. Everyone had a story about the Krays. They were twins.
Do you think we look alike?
Reggie was a gangster prince of the East End. Ron Kray was a one-man mob.
Your brother is violent, paranoid schizophrenic. What I'm trying to tell you is that he's off his rocker.
Well, no.
It was time for the Krays to enter gangster legend.
What is that? I come here for a proper shootout. A shootout, right? It's a shootout! Like a Western.
That's basically the whole movie right there.
Thank goodness I watched it. I watched my award screener on this one where there's a subtitle option.
Me too. I started watching it like normal. I'm like, ooh, where's that subtitle button? Because
Yeah.
I could not understand a fucking thing they were saying. If you couldn't understand Bane, this is like Cockney
Oh,
Bane.
come
When he's
on.
Ronnie Kray, you
No,
can't understand a
it's
fucking thing he's
fine.
saying. When he's Reggie, because Tom Hardy does his voice a little bit higher, he's a little more clear, but still.
Ronnie Kray.
Ronnie Kray's like,
the whole time.
I'm a fat boy. I like boys.
Listen, it's not like it's Brad Pitt in Snatch. Come on. This
No,
isn't
but that's
that bad.
funny. This is meant to.
That was
this is
intentional.
meant to work.
Yeah.
I thought it did work. Oh, you guys are terrible.
That is not even my problem with this movie, though. The problem started when I did understand what they were saying, and it was all shite.
The problem is the Emily Browning voiceover. All right.
Yeah, for starters, it's
Yeah.
narrated by the film's least interesting character, who also would have the least amount of access to a lot of the things that happen in the movie.
She's weirdly omniscient,
which
yes.
bugs the crap out of me.
And what's strange, though, okay, so Brian Helgeland wrote and directed this, right?
Yes.
Oscar winner for LA Confidential.
Yeah, but didn't he also write and direct like A Knight's Tale?
But he wrote Mystic River. 42 was very good. He took a biopic format and made it interesting. Here, it is just like shockingly pedestrian, and it spells everything out. And her voiceover spells everything out in a way that reminded me of, remember Factory Girl? Remember
yes.
Sienna Miller as Edie Sedgwick in Factory Girl? Same basic role as Emily Browning here, where she knows everything, explains everything in a way that is totally annoying.
And here's a Legend drinking game for you. Every time a new period pop song is introduced at the beginning of a new scene, you'll be drunk real quick. Drink twice when that pop song is super on the nose, like, for example, when Reggie Kray and Francis get married and they play Chapel of Love. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, good.
Defend it.
Please, did you like this movie? Vaguely better than we did.
I thought Tom Hardy was great in this. First of all, I didn't have trouble understanding him because I speak English.
Did you not watch it with your subtitles?
I did not.
Wow.
I did not. Only once did I run it back to check the subtitles, but then it was fine. Like, I didn't really have a problem with it. Listen, of the people that are hard to understand in this movie, he's not the worst one. There's a couple of the minor players, like the guy with the hat was harder to understand. Thank God he didn't get a lot of scenes.
And he wears that hat every time, just in case we forget who
Was
he
it
is.
Jimmy the
But he's
Hat?
pivotal, right? He's Jimmy the Hat,
Yeah.
but he's pivotal, right?
I thought this was really good. I forgot that I was watching the same actor play two roles. And I think that this movie is flawed. Like, it does, the voiceover by Emily Browning is not great. I didn't think she was particularly great in this role. Her character, her role is very underwritten. Chaz Palminteri, I don't really know what he's bothering to do in this movie.
He's plotting.
He's being Chaz Palminteri. He's showing up
this
being a
movie
gangster.
spoon feeds you a lot, but at its core, it's this. I think it doesn't do a great job. I can see that it's going for this relationship between the two brothers, and can Reg deal with his growth as a person, or is he going to be staying with his lunatic brother? And there's not a lot of sense of fun to this movie. Like, it ends up bleak. All of that being said, I think Hardy puts in this really killer performance. I think he's great in this. And again, like, I forgot that I'm watching the same guy.
I didn't forget I was watching the same guy, but I did appreciate the distinctions he created between the two of them. I mean, they are very clearly delineated people, beyond the fact that one was wearing glasses. You always know that he's Ronnie Kray when he's wearing glasses. But yes, like in terms of the way they
The
carry
body language, right?
themselves,
Oh,
right? And so he does do a lot of work to make them two totally separate people, and the effects are pretty seamless when he's playing opposite himself.
That stuff is done really well, and I mean Hardy pours himself into this and is giving it his all. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of Tom Hardy.
We all love Tom Hardy.
I'm still proud of the LA film critics for giving him Best Actor for Locke last year when everybody else ignored that amazing performance.
We love Locke.
This one, I kind of feel like he's hemmed in by the script. The script does not give much depth to either Kray. And so he's basically left playing one who is weirdly buttoned down and has this sort of bizarre way of looking at the universe because he is genuinely mentally ill. And then the other one who's more the sort of dashing playboy guy. And he plays that very well, but that's kind of all there is. Like, he does create two very distinct guys, but if there had been more written for the Krays to be, there would be more for Tom Hardy to do. And so I think he does as much as he can with what he's been given, which is not much.
I think the mistake this movie makes, and this will sound weird, I think it gives too much screen time to Ron, to the psychotic brother, right? Because like there's not much depth to that character. He's crazy. He's crazy, and he owns that he's crazy. He owns that he's homosexual, and constantly says like he wants to mix it up. He wants to fight. Like you don't expect a character arc out of somebody like that.
Yeah, he's going to keep saying we're gangsters, whereas Reggie tries to keep saying, "What? No, I'm a club owner."
Right, and I think that you see, I could see Reg's struggle to try and leave that behind and go legit, similar to what you see in the collected works of Scorsese, that a gangster's trying to kind of, legitimize himself and finds that he can't leave it behind through both circumstance and desire. And it could have done a much better fleshing that out. And I think really if it spent more time just on Reg's story and like Ron kind of came in and out from time to time.
Well, have you guys seen The Krays, the 80s
Yes.
one?
No, but I've heard the Morrissey song Last of the International
That's a
Playboys,
start.
which has been in my head for weeks now.
Well, one thing that The Krays does that's really smart that this movie could have used more of is they really established the mother, who's played brilliantly by Billy Whitelaw in that movie, and she's really sort of the driving force for how these guys wind up on the path they're on. And we get a few glimpses of her here and some impression that she's not to be trifled with, but I think that might have that level of performance and that level of characterization might have given this movie
Right, you kind of want to see something like we see with the actress in Animal Kingdom.
Sure, exactly.
Jackie
yes,
Weaver.
yes, Jackie Weaver.
Yeah,
totally.
but speaking of the mother, though, in the scene, like that scene with the mom, like after the killing, and they go to the mom's house to have tea and something to eat, like it's one of many, many scenes here that remind me so much of Goodfellas.
Well, yeah.
It's impossible to watch this without thinking over and over again how totally inferior it is to Goodfellas. You've got a long tracking shot as he brings her into the club,
and,
and the pop music.
And you point that out. The problem is, like in Goodfellas, that scene plays really weird because Pesci's mother in that scene either won't admit to or just doesn't know that these guys are up to something, right? As opposed to you put a character like Jackie Weaver's character in Animal Kingdom and you see the back half of that scene in Legend that she says to Reg, like, take care of your brother. Like, she knows, but she's playing it weird, and that scene comes off weird because you start out thinking, okay, so she's clueless. Oh, wait. She's not clueless, then why was she acting clueless?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. But Goodfellas, the thing about gangster movies is that if you're gonna make one, you have to figure out a way to get out of Scorsese's shadow. In the same way that if you're gonna make a zombie movie, it can't just be a retread of George Romero or 28 Days Later or whatever. You have to find a new way through this genre. And this movie doesn't have enough ideas of its own, and the characters aren't etched well enough for real guys who did have this amazing story, and so it's a wasted opportunity for Tom Hardy, I think, because like I said, he is giving it his all, but there's just not enough all meeting him halfway to really create something.
I agree. So what are our numbers then, friends? Alonzo?
4.5. I was really disappointed. I had high hopes for this, and it doesn't play.
I say 5.
6.5. I think it's worth seeing just for Hardy.
Okay, so we're at 5.3.
It's at 60% on the tomato meter.
So you gotta see it. Hold on. We don't care. Bye.